Today's topic is exploring rep speed, tempo, which is best for helping you build the muscle that you want, because different goals may be better suited with different types of speed. But building muscle specifically, is it better to go fast, slow, medium, and so on? Let's think of this from a principled standpoint. Okay? When we're talking about building muscle, we've got only two variables that you really got to consider. You've got the amount of resistance on a muscle, which is correlated, but not exactly the same as the amount of tension in the muscle. And then you've got the amount of time that muscle is enduring that amount of resistance for. Now, in the name of building muscle, both of these are very important, and you want to progress both of them over the course of your training career. This is why the most ironclad way to build muscle is take a resistance, increase the reps, add more resistance, increase the reps, and wash, rinse, and repeat. But speed is a little bit of a different factor because speed influences both of these things. When we are lifting at a moderate pace, if we go faster, then the amount of resistance on that muscle for a brief period of time shoots right up because it requires more work to work against gravity. The amount of time, however, goes down because you're going from point A to point B in a very fast motion. Now, if we go slower, that inverses it. So the amount of resistance on the muscle goes down because we don't need as much force. However, the amount of time per repetition goes up. So the real question is it more about tension or is it more about time? The answer I've always found is it's always both. If we prioritize one always at the expense of the other, we typically shortchange ourselves. If we grow both at the same time, then you're going to have the best chance of building muscle as well as possible. So for that reason, I always advocate kind of a medium approach when it comes to speed for most people. Kind of like 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. You get some folks who get really kind of thinking about like they'll go real fast and they'll go real slow on the way down. That theory that the eccentric part of a lift is where you build your muscle, which I honestly never really bought into very well. So here are my recommendations. One is select a level of resistance that makes the muscles work pretty darn hard. 5 to 15 repetitions is usually a good range. You can go higher and lower, but that's usually the sweet spot. 2, move at a speed that creates more resistance, but not so much that you're creating momentum. Momentum is like if you go faster, you're creating a lot of resistance, but the momentum takes over and then the resistance plummets. Think of like flipping a burger on the grill. It's not cooking when it's in the air, so you wouldn't want to just keep flipping a burger. It'd never cook. It'd take forever. You kind of get the same thing with momentum. It's not the most efficient way to use your time. You want to basically cook and sear the hell out of your muscles. So have a pace that allows good resistance, but even resistance so that it's consistent throughout the repetition ranges. With that said too, don't let your muscles just relax and let the weight or the resistance drop. Lower under control. Control is really the name of the game. And also, make sure that you're paying attention to the total amount of time you're doing the exercise. Remember, total time is what we want here, not time per rep. Reps are really actually a timing mechanism. If we do more repetitions, theoretically, we're spending more time doing the exercise. But you could do 30 reps or 10 slow reps, and it's still the actual same time under tension. It's just more repetition. So focus on how much time you're doing for the exercise as a whole, and you're welcome to use reps for that as long as they're consistent. My last piece of advice is typically people can get out of a bit of a building rut if they do change up their speed a little bit. So if you're used to going slow, go a little faster. Pump reps, if you will. If you're used to doing pump reps, slow it down, build up some of that tension and some of those hard sticking points throughout the rep. But that's the best way to use time tempo is something usually in the middle, and then use the extremes to kind of break out of neurological sticking point, if you will. Hopefully that answers some questions for you. Till then, be fit, live free.